Welcome to Real Talk in ELT, a podcast that talks about the reality of teaching English.
Hi there, and welcome back to another episode of Real Talk in ELT. It's just me today, Kelly here, and we're going to look at a couple things, actually. A tool that I think will be very helpful for you. And I'm going to share my screen so you can kind of plan things along with me, and hopefully you'll be able to get some ideas on how to help facilitate your planning process with authentic materials. So let's start it with authentic materials. So authentic materials are materials that you get from sources that are not made for English language learners or language learners in general. As soon as you touch the authentic material, meaning you try to substitute something or you change something out of it, it's no longer authentic. And one of the things that teachers struggle with, there's construction going on across the road, so hopefully it's not too loud. But one of the things that some teachers struggle with is that when they have authentic materials, they don't know how to make it appropriate for their learner. Which is challenging, right? Because sometimes we see something, we're like, oh, that's really a good topic. It's really cool information. But how can I make this accessible to one of my learners? And the only answer that I have for you as of today is to grade the task, not the text. So whether you're dealing with an audio or whether you're dealing with a reading text, what you should be doing is grading the task so that the task is appropriate for the language level of your learners, and not grading the authentic material. Because one of the great things about dealing with authentic material is it's quite motivating for our students, because what they do see is that they can actually interact with things that are not a course book, right? And so they're interacting with the real world, which is the ultimate goal for them. And so it's quite motivating for them to see something that has not been altered in any way, shape, or form, and they're able to digest even just a percentage of it. They're still able to digest that information. So I'm a huge proponent of using authentic material in classes. I know that I have friends who use only authentic materials. They don't use any coursebook. Of course, that's a lot of work. I tend to use a mix because I see benefits in all materials, but that's just me. So let me introduce you with this kind of really cool tool that we can use. And I'm going to give you some options, and hopefully, we'll be able to create a couple different lessons using this. Now, I'm going to do this. I haven't played with all of the options here, so we're going to be kind of discovering together. I'll try and cut out all of the boring parts where I have to click around because I've gotten myself lost on the website. That might happen. Or I'll just speed it up because then you can see how I navigate through. But let's dig into it and see if we can get some lessons planned together. Okay, so the tool that we're going to be using is called Twee. There's a couple of podcasts that have actually already done some podcasting about this, but I wasn't fortunate enough to listen to the episodes just yet. I will try. So anyways, it's called Twee, Twee. If you go to app.twee.com, you should be able to sign up. So this is my account. I've signed up for it. I happen to like it because it makes things a little bit easier. However, I will caution you that it is not a tool that you can use as you wish. Once you get into it, like you need to check this. As a teacher, you need to be able to check this. So once you get into it, you can see on the side here, on the left-hand side, there are different categories for the tools. We've got reading, vocabulary, writing, speaking, grammar, and listening. We're going to play around with those, and this might be a multiple part episode, and we can just try and use all of them and see what happens. So first of all, for the reading, I'm going to click on reading first. And in reading, we've got 7 options here. So the first option is to create a text on a certain topic. The next one is to create open questions to a text. Then to create ABCD, like multiple choice questions with only one correct answer. They also give you true and false statements, creating a dialogue, create three titles for a text and reading bits and pieces. This one is kind of new where it creates all different types of like little text for your lesson. So let me kind of show you how I've used this before. I'm going to click over here and show you that I've got a Wall Street Journal article about central bank digital currencies, which are coming out, whether you like it or not. And so this is going to have, this is like a big talking point, I guess, in the world, digital banking, digital central bank, digital credit systems and things like that. So I don't know, hot topic. So this was written in January of 2023. It's becoming more and more evident that some places, especially with the banking crisis in the US and things like that, Russia and China having their agreement to use the Chinese currency for trade, and of course Brazil and China agreeing as well. These are some of the headlines that have been coming out in the news. So I'm not an expert in this, but this is certainly something that we should all start preparing for and start looking at, because it's definitely going to change our banking systems. So I find this to be very applicable to both general English students who are just living in the world that we're living in, and for business English students, because certainly this is going to change how individuals do their banking, but also how companies do their banking as well. So I chose this, and what I usually do is I just copy and paste articles into a Google Doc for me, because it's easier to kind of use this as opposed to kind of going back and forth to the website. So what I'll do is, for example, you can select all or part of it. I'm going to do part of it. And this is one of the things that I was talking about before. So authentic materials, you don't change the materials. So if you think that, I think this is a 4-page article. This is a huge article, right? So this is quite a bit. I'm not going to give a 4-page article to my students in class. Not going to happen. Because in my reading lessons, at least my vision of the reading lessons, I would like them to use reading skills and develop those skills. And then, of course, we can get to more of the content later. I'm not the type of person that just gives them a bunch of content because I want them to read more. So what you can do is, again, construction across the street. Sorry, people. But what you can do is you can take all or a chunk of the article, and you can head over here to create open-ended questions. Now, there's 3 that you can use that are ones that we are most familiar with. So here you can just paste your text, and then you can say, do the magic. And when you say do the magic, it comes up with open-ended questions. So there you go. Questions and answers right there for you. Now, open-ended questions, I mean, sometimes they're looking for specific information. Sometimes it's details. So again, I've made the distinction between specific information and details because that's how I like to do it. But you can, obviously, you need to read these, check these, look at the article, read the article, make sure the answers are correct, etc. But it certainly cuts down on time because it gives you questions and answers. So I find that most of these are specific information questions because we're using AI for this. So if you put the text in, it's gonna usually do something based on the text that you can find in the text. So it's not really inferring the ideas from the text. It's usually found directly in there. Like you can go to the text and highlight it. So that's why I think it's mostly specific information, though, however, sometimes there's details. Okay, so that's one. So you can do that. At the bottom here, they say don't stop, and you can do a fill in the gap, A, B, C, D questions, true and false. So we'll just do A, B, C, D questions. And if you click on it from the don't stop after it's already generated those questions and answers for you, it automatically puts the text back in. So if you click back and then you click on the A, B, C, D, like the multiple choice questions, then you're going to have to paste the text back in, or you can just kind of follow this thread. So once it's in there, you can hit do the magic and it will give you multiple choice questions. Now, you don't have control over how many it gives you, just so you know. So This first one, it gave us 7 open-ended questions, and we'll see how many it pops out here. Okay, so then we have 10 multiple choice questions here. Again, you can go back and see if these are appropriate, if this is like good for your learners or not, but it's just kind of giving you a jumping off point. And then you can modify as you wish. Obviously, you want to make sure that they're correct. It does give you the answers, but just kind of make sure and double check that everything is going well. And then the last one that's kind of the most common ones that we always see is true and false statements. So I'm just going to click here from the don't stop, the next task to keep it in the same thread is the true and false statements. So if we click true and false, again, it pops up with the prompt. And of course, you can change the text. It's up to 1,000 characters. 1,000 characters, 1,000 words. I think 1,000 words, sorry. It's up to 1,000 words in the free version, but you can modify what part of the text, what part of the article you're using. I'm just going to use the same one because it makes it a lot easier. And then I click do the magic, and it gives me a bunch of statements, whether they're both a mix of true and false. And then it gives me the answers. And the cool thing about the ones that are false, it does tell you why it's false. So again, time saving, but you need to double check and make sure that these are actually accurate answers and good things that you can use with their students. And just, again, double check. AI is great. It's a wonderful tool. It certainly cuts down on our time in planning, but we have to make sure that it's doing it accurately. And that we're not using this to the detriment of our students, because then what's the point, right? Okay, so those are the 3 that are most common, right? We see true and false, we see multiple choice answers, and we do see open-ended questions fairly commonly. So if you have a text and you need just kind of a helping hand, a jump start, because you don't want to, from the authentic material, you don't want to make your own questions, then for sure, this is a great option. Oh, goodness. And now the truck selling something or other is coming by. It's going to be quite a noisy episode. So I'm going to go back to the reading tab, actually, so that we can see the other options. So that was options 2, 3, and 4, that you just stick a text in there. It's going to pop out some questions and it's going to give you your answers. But that's not all we do in reading classes, right? Because reading classes, you usually have a lead in, we might pre-teach vocabulary, we might do a bunch of things. So there's obviously a follow-up activity, which is usually a productive skill if we're kind of following that standard, reading lesson. So how can we have AI help us with our creativity? Because that's one thing that teachers usually struggle with, like, I don't know where to go, I don't know what to do. So this one here, create a text on a certain topic. I think it's interesting, but the cool thing, it's interesting, but you have to, obviously use with caution. Always use with caution. So the first thing that you can do here is you paste your topic. You only have 100 words. So if I want, let me go back over here. I want this definitely to be my topic, central bank digital currencies. I don't want to spell that wrong, so I'm definitely going to put that in there. And maybe I want to put something like, I don't know, Brazil, because that's where I'm living, USA, because that's where my family is, and new policies and laws. We'll just put that there. So what you can do, so I've just kind of put like keywords, nothing, any, very neutral, right? So then you have a genre. So you can pick either a fictional story, a text, or just a regular text, a fictional story, an informal letter, a formal letter, a review, a descriptive article, or an argumentative article. Let's put descriptive article first, but we might do all these. The cool thing about this is you can also select a level. So you can do simple, which is A1 to A2, intermediate B1 to B2, or advanced C1 to C2. I want to do C1 to C2 because why not? There's an optional category here where you can put some target vocabulary. So if you are planning on maybe using this, I don't know, however you're going to use it, and you want to have specific vocabulary in there, you can tell it specific vocabulary. You have to separate it by a comma, and it will use those specific words. I'm not going to do that this time, but let's do the magic and see what happens. So as you can see, if you're watching this, hopefully you're watching this, as you can see, it's doing its magic. It's creating a quick little article here, just kind of describing CBDCs, right? Here's the thing. It's fine. You have the option of shortening it. What I've found with most of the artificial intelligence is that it does it well, but the level of the text, regardless of whether you're using advanced or simple, is kind of akin to a high school student, which is okay, which is, I'm not, it's not bad. The level that you pick here, whether it be A1 to A2, B1 to B2, or C1 to C2, kind of determines like the complexity of the sentences and sometimes the range of vocabulary that it uses. But overall, in general, it's written as if a high schooler was writing an essay for you. If that's what you need and that's what you want and it's something quick and that's fine for your purposes, then it's fine for your purposes. If not, it's not that this tool is completely unusable, like this doesn't work for you, it's not helpful. No, it can certainly give you at least a basis, a foundation, and then you can modify as necessary. Again, you can kind of pick whatever you want. So if you say, okay, now I want an informal letter, then it'll regenerate, and it's more similar to like a quick email amongst friends. So you can play with it and see what works for you. Of course, that being used in itself, if you need to have, like, let's say, for example, the course book that you're using or the materials that you're using, they don't have what you need in terms of they don't have a text, and you really want to have a text. So I swear, the motorcycles in this neighborhood, it's ridiculous. Anyways, sorry, I apologize. So if you don't have a text, but you really want to introduce vocabulary via text, then this would be a good one. Sometimes in the course books we see like they'll have a like a vocabulary set or a grammatical point, and it's not contextualized and it's not within something that would make sense for your students, and you really want to introduce that point via a text, via a presentation. So then, okay, then fine, this would be a good option for you. So again, just something to think about. All right, so then let's go back to the reading and look at the other options. There is a dialogue. So if you hit create a dialogue on any topic, we can again do central bank digital currencies. Oh, goodness. This one's taking a long time. It normally doesn't, but okay. Okay, there we go. All right, so again, you just need to put your topic or a short text in here. So if I want it to actually create a text about this first paragraph of the article from the Wall Street Journal. Again, if I want any target vocabulary, I can set those aside too. And if I hit do the magic, see, here's the problem. So the dialogue is ready, but it's not, because it says, sorry, I cannot create a dialogue for this topic as it requires analysis and discussion of complex concepts related to central bank digital currencies. However, I can suggest looking up more information about the topic and its potential implications on the banking system and global economy. Ta-da! So sometimes AI isn't that great. So let's see. Let's modify this. I told you we're going to be doing this together, Xenios. So let me see if I can... see, if you just put central bank digital currencies, then it'll come up with a conversation. Maybe it was too complex because it had to analyze the text. Okay, so anyways, here we go. We've got John, Sarah, I think just John and Sarah. So John and Sarah are talking about central bank digital currencies, and you have a nice little dialogue here. right? And so you do have the options on the bottom to shorten it, simplify it, or upgrade. I think you have to pay for. I'm not going to do that. But if I want to simplify it because that's a little bit too long, then it's done the simplification here. And okay, so now it's simplified. It's like more plain speech English, but then I want it to be super short because I want it to be very, very short. Then it gives me just a description. See, here's why I like AI. I'm all for using it, but it doesn't always give you what you're looking for. So John, it's removed the dialogue. It no longer has a dialogue, but now it has a description of a dialogue. So John and Sarah discuss digital money, its purpose, risk, and potential impact on people's lives. They acknowledge that some countries are already experimenting with their own digital currencies, but there are still many obstacles to overcome before it becomes widely adopted as a replacement for traditional payment systems. So there you go. That could be an opening for this dialogue or even the more complex dialogue before. Who knows? You can use this in all sorts of ways, but it's an option. It creates a dialogue. How realistic the dialogue is, it seems pretty realistic because they use things like, yes, I've read a bit about them. Isn't it like cryptocurrency? And the person responds, kind of, but central banks will issue and manage the digital currency instead of decentralized ledgers. Oh, interesting. What's the point of creating a new digital currency? Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like more or less, it's like a conversation, but it's very, very context based. So that's another option, is to create a dialogue. And when you create a dialogue, I think that your students can maybe play it out. So they could do like a role playing with the dialogue, or they could do something along the lines of, does this sound like a conversation you would have with your friends? If not, how could you modify it to something that would be more akin to like a relaxed conversation? Or if it's not that, you could use that as a basis to kind of have them deal with the language. Another option we have in reading is create 3 titles for a text. So sorry, I went back. I went back to the main screen and now I'm back here again. Okay, so then we've got, I'm just going to take just the first paragraphs from this article. You can use more, depending on the limitations. We've got like 1,000 words here. So I'm just going to use the first couple paragraphs of this. And I didn't include the title. And so what I'm going to do is hit do the magic, and hopefully it'll come up with a correct title and 2 incorrect titles. That obviously doesn't align with what the title of from the Wall Street Journal, but if you just have a text about something and you want the students to do like a gist activity, what's the most appropriate title, then that would work. So sometimes we need those. It's a simple thing, but okay. And then these reading bits is something new, but you can't really use another text about this. So it creates small text. So you can have a price list, a restaurant menu, and all other kinds of price lists, signs, ads, invitations, instructions, and headlines. So let's click on price list. And what do we have to do here? Create, paste your topic here. Let's do, okay. I want to do an American diner because I'm craving American diner food. Let's do that. Do the magic. So American diner food, it cracks me up. I'm sorry. Okay, so it's actually creating the menu for an American diner. It's got appetizers, nachos supreme, fried pickles, mozzarella sticks. It's got burgers, a classic burger, veggie burger, bacon avocado burger, sandwiches, Philly cheesesteak, which is one of my husband's favorite, grilled cheese, chicken club, sides of French fries, onion rings, coleslaw, and desserts of apple pie, chocolate sundae, and milkshake. And it also has the description and the value for it. That's perfect, right? So especially if you're doing something where you need a price list. Let's think of another one. I'm doing houses for a realtor in Houston, Texas. Oh, by the way, I didn't capitalize anything. So I'm just like putting things here with barely any punctuation and it still can read this. Hmm. It's generating. I think it had a issue. Okay, here we go. So categories: single family homes. They've got a cozy 2-bedroom, 1-bedroom homes in Heights neighborhood, 250,000. Spacious 4-bedroom, 3-bedroom home in West University, 850,000. So it lists out, let me see how many it has. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it has 5 listings. It's very, very basic and the value of them. And then the next category is luxury homes. There's 3 in there with the value. Holy God, $10 million. Oh, it's a 9-bedroom mansion. That's why. Okay. Then it has another category of investment properties. It's got 3 in there: duplex, fourplex, triplex, and land. So it's got a vacant lot and some acreage. So, and then it gives like a super, super brief description and the value of it. So if you're looking for things like this, I mean, we talk about things that have lists all the time. So price list, you might not need the price of it, but you might need some variations in listings and categories. So that would be a really cool option to use. So let's head back over to the reading bits and we'll do a sign. So let's do a shop. No, I don't want to do shop sign. I want to do a sign in an English. Oops. Typing is terrible. English language school. Again, you can put target vocabulary here, but let's see what it pops up with. These are adorable. So these are some little texts that you could put there. So welcome to our English language school. English only zone. Speak English in this area. That's a little, I don't know how I feel about that, but okay. Please turn your cell phone off during lessons. No food or drinks allowed in class. Please do not disturb the class in progress. Please arrive on time for your scheduled classes. Please clean up after yourself. Keep our school clean. Please respect your fellow students and teachers. Please ask for assistance if you need help. Please enjoy your time learning English with us. Okay, so it gives us 10 little sayings for signs. I mean, we could also look at road signs, right? So let's just do some road signs. Again, who knows, whenever you need to just get, this is like just taking the, let's say, you feel very slow one day, you have no creativity, and you have to teach something on I don't know, signage and maybe modal verbs or like imperatives for people to like do things and things like that. Okay, fine. So that, you can just look at these. So that gives us 10 signs related to road safety that can be put up in a public place. So stop sign, yield sign, speed limit, no parking, school zone, railroad crossing, no U-turns, one way, pedestrian, do not enter sign. And it gives a little description. So stop sign, the sign indicates you must come to a complete stop before proceeding. Yield sign, the sign indicates that you must slow down and yield to the right of way of any other vehicles or pedestrians in the intersection. Again, it's kind of cool if you're thinking about, I think signs mostly, I used them when I was doing modal verbs because it was like recommendations or rules or things like that. So ads. Yes, let's do an English language teacher. English language teacher. Ooh, online. Let's see if we can come up with an ad for that. Okay, interesting. I thought it was going to be like a job description, and it's not. So this is an ad looking for an English language teacher who can help you improve your skills from comfort of your own home. Look no further than our online English language teaching service. Our expert teachers provide personalized lessons tailored to your individual needs and goals with flexible scheduling and affordable rates. You can learn English at your own pace and on your own schedule. Whether you're a beginner or advanced learner, our online English language teaching services is the perfect solution for anyone looking to improve their language skills. Sign up today and start learning. That would actually be okay. So yeah, it would be cool for like your lessons too, but I'm thinking like an ad for like social media. If you're just like, oh God, how do I even promote myself? Then you could kind of put some things in there and you can add the target vocabulary like before. So if you want to have specific words in there, then fine. again, I'm not going to like copy and paste these and put them on my social media. However, I might search it and then be like, okay, how can I modify this and then throw it on social media? Why not, right? Okay, so it has invitations, instructions, and headlines. Instructions, I think, would be kind of cool. So I'm going to do making an omelet. Okay. Yeah, I never spell omelet right. Is it with one T or? Well, I'm just going to throw it in there. Oh, yeah, I forgot the E. Sorry. I always forget if it's like one T or two. Look at, I had a terrible spelling mistake. So I put OMLETTE because I wasn't sure if it was two T's or not. And I missed an E and it still got the message. So how to make an omelet in 5 easy steps. So it gets you through, let's see. Gather your ingredients. 2 eggs, pinch of salt, tablespoon of butter, and fillings you like. Cheese, ham, mushrooms, and peppers. Well, that is a Western omelet right there. No, it needs to have onions. Okay, anyways. Beat the eggs, crack them into the bowl, cook the omelet, blah, blah, blah. Melt the butter on a nonstick frying pan over medium heat. Add the beaten eggs to the pan and tilt it to spread the eggs evenly. Use a spatula to gently lift the edges of the omelet and let the uncooked eggs run underneath. When the top of the omelet is almost set, add your fillings to 1/2 of the omelet. Fold, blah, 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 blah. Serve and enjoy. So you can see it has like instructions to make an omelet or instructions to, Lord, I mean, let's just put this. Let's see if it does it. Fixing the door handle on an old car. I don't know why that came to mind. But anyways, remove the door panel. Use a screwdriver to remove the screws, holding the puppet. See, this is actually kind of cool. So it gives, how many steps in this? 6. It's like 5 or 6 steps. It's relatively general. However, I deal with a lot of engineers, and this would be so cool if we put what they have to do in the topic area and then see what it comes out with in terms of instructions. And then your students can tell you, because they're subject matter experts, whether or not that is actually useful. Like, does that really work, or is that not something, or would they have to modify it? Or they could use these instructions, but then they would have to make it more detailed. Or they would use the instructions that are relatively basic or generalized, but then like in their own setting, for example, with their company, because their company might have other regulations on things. So actually, that's a pretty cool thing for instructions. I like it. What else do we have here? Headlines and invitations. Invitations, obviously, you would probably only use that for invitation purposes. Headlines, again, we kind of saw it would make the 3 headlines, but this would be a list of newspaper headlines. So maybe, you could make a list of them and then decide whether they're appropriate or not. Or they could look at the list of headlines and see like if there's any biases, or like where would they find this more likely, et cetera, et cetera. So a bunch of cool things. Anyways, so that is the 7 different things that you can do with a text. Now, when it comes to like preparing the lesson, this is definitely going to assist you because it's going to give you lots of different ideas, and it's going to cut down your planning time significantly if you use it in the right way. I would caution everyone, lots of caution here. While it's great, it's still not the substitute for you being able to judiciously use your knowledge and say, is this an appropriate task for my student? Is it appropriate to the lesson, et cetera, right? So we have to make sure that we're doing this in a very careful way, that we're very conscious and aware of what we're putting in there, because, as smart as AI is, and it continues to get smarter day by day, as smart as AI is, sometimes it's not, because it doesn't understand the purpose that you have for a specific stage in your lesson. It'll give you a ton of creative ideas, and a lot of the things you don't even have to change. But at the same time, we need to make sure that it's actually, being done in an appropriate way. Okay, so I'm going to cut this episode short, And I will be back with the next episode, and we'll continue going down the tools that we can use with this AI called Twee.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Real Talk and ELT. Want to join the conversation? Head on over to Instagram at Kelly Pennington ELT and send me a message. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube or Spotify channel to stay up to date. And of course, take care of yourself, your health, your vibe, and your tribe. Until next time.